Aloha, children of the night, and welcome to another episode of the Tiki Goth Club. Today I'm with my good friends Doc and his son London, and it's around Halloween, and I thought... yeah, now it's... Boo! And I thought it'd be fitting to talk about...
our favorite movie to watch at Halloween time, The Color Purple.
The Color Purple. No. We're going to talk about today. I thought it'd be cool to talk about the Halloween movies, the Halloween franchise movies, because there's definitely a lot of them out there, and I would be curious to see. I don't think we've ever even talked about.
No, I don't think we've actually.
We really
haven't touched on
Halloween, like as the movies.
The John Carpenter film that spawned, a whole galaxy.
Yeah, a lot of stuff.
There are a lot of Halloween movies.
So right off the bat, would you consider the original Halloween movie to be the first slasher film?
I would consider that to be one of the first slasher movies.
Yeah.
I think the only movie that would kind of preceded it. Psycho is definitely got a lot of that suspense. But there was also the movie Peeping Tom.
Peeping Tom.
Yeah, it's like early 60s, I believe. But definitely kind of in the slasher territory. I think Alfred Hitchcock started that with Psycho, where there was the whole element of suspense, but the music really brought it in. And what do you think of when you think of the Halloween movies? Other than Michael Myers, you think of the soundtrack.
What year did it come out?
1978. And, it was made like how some of the best movies were made. Like Night of the Living Dead. It was made on a shoestring budget. Mm-hmm. Not a lot of money for production. I mean, they were filming in spring and had to make their own leaves. So it's kind of funny when they're walking through town and you just see a couple of leaves.
They made their own leaves?
They made the leaves, and then after they shot a scene, they had to bag
them
up and move. Well, they didn't make the leaves. They took leaves off trees, and they had to spray paint them orange and brown.
Oh my God.
And they had garbage bags that they had to take to each location where they're filming and spread them all over the place in Pasadena. So it's funny when you watch them. It's supposed to be it's Halloween.
Haddonfield.
The Dead of Fall in Haddonfield, Chicago, and there's like one sad little leaf on the ground, and they're just kind of. There's a leaf rustling on Halloween Day.
It isn't true that like the actual Michael Myers mask is.
It's a William Shatner mask.
William Shatner mask, like turned inside out or something like that.
No, it's like they took a William Shatner mask, they painted it white, they widened the holes, and screwed with the hair a little bit. But no, it's William Shatner. He probably gets a nickel every time that face is on the screen.
Is that all part of the reason? Like, well, we don't got a lot of money.
Yeah.
So what are we going to do to cover when they came up with the idea of Michael Myers was the idea like we gotta hide this guy's face.
Well, yeah, because he's supposed to just be. I want to
mysterious.
I want to. Well, no, he's supposed to be just like they didn't really know what the killer was going to be. This was originally called the babysitter.
The babysitter.
The babysitter killers or the babysitter murders. That's what it originally was. That was the premise of this film. It was the babysitter murders.
Yeah.
And they didn't really know what Michael Myers was going to be yet. They just, I think he was described as the Shape.
The Shape.
Yeah, he's just supposed to be like a force of nature, It's
evil.
Evil force of nature, like in the last movie. Evil dies tonight! This one, I think he was just supposed to be a force of nature, Shape, and they're like, okay, like I said, no budget. What do we do? Okay, costume department. What do you got for us?
A jumpsuit. And a Captain Kirk mask.
And it looks scary. That is a scary mask. There's like no emotion. It's white. It's, there's a guy walking around. That is creepy. But no, it was made on a shoestring budget. It's one of those movies that, I think it was made for less than $1 million. And then, it goes to show what you do with the right elements. Music, suspense.
Is there a lot of gore in it? I don't remember.
No, that's the thing. There's not a lot of gore in that movie. Not at all.
There's not.
You don't really see any... I mean, the goriest scene, I want to say, is when he kills his sister in the beginning. Yeah, there's not a lot of gore there. It's primarily the suspense and just the music and the sounds, like when his face is slowly being illuminated in the shadows, and you hear the diddle-ing.
Now, London, obviously, you're as a younger kid. I mean, you're used to. You've seen it all by this point when it comes to slashers and horror and killers and stuff like that. I mean, like, does Michael Myers hold up for you as a slasher killer?
Yeah, I mean, he's one of the most iconic horror characters of all time. I mean, yeah.
Now, why do you, in your opinion, what makes him iconic? Is it the mask? Is it his movements?
It's how he
the lack of whatever.
I think it's the element of the Halloween movies and the.
It's how he acts. It's just his personality.
Well, it's Halloween. The movies are Halloween.
Yes.
And you know, a lot of people affiliate the holiday with horror films, slasher movies. Like what's on all the channels? 30 Days of Horror. You know, and Halloween's always.
What's been on a horror film?
You want to really watch some real scary movies? Start cruising down to the sequels.
Well, let's go to Halloween 2. Does it hold up?
But no, Halloween 2, it holds up in the sense that it's in a hospital. And that's kind of creepy. But I think the creepiest scene in that is when you see a kid show up at the hospital with a razor blade in his tongue.
A lot of people say that it doesn't compare to the first one, but I remember being a teenager. I loved them both. I really did love them both. I mean, obviously the original Halloween stands the test of time more than. Because at the end of the day, a sequel's a sequel.
Right. Very rarely does a sequel any better than the actual original. Very rarely does that happen.
But then Halloween 3 came out.
They had different ideas.
And let's talk about that. So have you seen Halloween 3?
I don't think you've
Seasons
seen
of the Witch.
I don't think I've seen the majority of them.
I have failed as a father.
Failure.
I haven't.
Well,
you should be ashamed.
We haven't shown him Season of the Witch.
Well, okay. Well, so London. So here's the situation. We just got done talking about Halloween and Halloween 2, where you have Michael Myers as the killer. So Halloween 3 comes out. Mm-hmm. Halloween 3, and that's called The Season of the Witch. And then we all go see this movie. And it's about this company that makes these masks that kids are supposed to wear.
Happy Halloween, Silver Shamrock.
It's 3 more days to Halloween, kids. And the whole idea is all these kids are supposed to put on these masks and like just messed up stuff happens to them, and it kills them.
The
and
actual
their family.
premise of the movie, I think they were trying to do this thing where they were trying to do an anthology with the Halloween
movies. That was the point. The idea was they're thinking like, okay, well, we did the Michael Myers story, so they thought like we're gonna have this Halloween franchise, which I think there's other movies that have done that. I guess.
Yeah, where you have
where it's the name,
story.
and then you just have different stories. Kind of like how American Horror Stories. You ever watch American Horror Stories?
Which is an amazing show.
But every season, it's its own story.
It's a different story.
And that's what
they might have little tie-ins here and there.
Yeah. What the thing is like that was what the idea was for Halloween 3, but like they didn't tell us this. So for a lot of people,
they're like, "Where's Michael Myers?"
We're all like, "Where's Michael Myers at? Oh, he's not in here. Why the hell is this called Halloween?" And it was panned.
Yeah.
And forever, and for like a long time, people didn't really give it much thought.
No.
But then you just go back and you watch it, and you're like,
it's actually a good movie.
It's a great movie.
Yeah.
It's actually really creepy.
It's really good. I think what messed it up was they put the Halloween over it when Michael Myers was already pretty much an established.
Yeah.
That was the face of Halloween.
Yeah.
And then they were like, but now we got this different story. And everybody's like, nah. Which leads to later on, they're like, well, we better get that guy back from the dead. And then you started getting the late 80s, early 90s Halloweens, the returns of Michael Myers, the revenge of Michael Myers.
One of them's a prequel.
The curse of Michael Myers, the origins of Michael Myers, the H20. And then it gets into some pretty sad territory.
Why do you think I can't say that I've watched all of them, but I've watched a couple of them. What's lacking? What's
the mask,
missing?
for one. I mean, they really screwed up with the mask. I mean, it literally looks like Etsy. It's like, okay, there's the original Michael Myers mask in Etsy. Halloween 4, coming to a theater near you. I mean, the masks are really bad. It's like the...
How can you mess up...
I don't know. I don't.
Oh, they
like I said, there's a production budget. They give it to some guy, and they're like, "Yeah, it's white." The hair's crazy. It'll scare you. You put this on, it's going to scare some kids. But they start going into this, territory where Michael comes from a cult, this Thorn cult, or something to do with this cult of Thorn. And what makes Michael Myers scary is you don't know anything about him. That's
at least the original.
You don't want to know the origin of Michael Myers. That's what makes him scary. When you start going, well, there's this cult, and there's a sister, and now he's got a niece, and yada, yada, yada. And again, it goes back to what we were saying. They need to keep making these movies. They keep pumping them out, so they're just writing a story. But eventually it just
Would you say any of those worth checking out?
Always. I love watching. I rewatch all the Halloween movies.
Oh, so you'd say check them out.
I like it. I kind of like have my own little Mystery Science Theater 3000 with them, and I just talk through the whole thing, and because they're goofy and they're bad, and it stayed bad. They had like a 20th anniversary in '97.
So you're
98.
But you're saying that Halloween and Halloween 2 and even 3 for that matter, they're legitimately great movies.
Halloween is a legitimate great movie.
But
Halloween 3 is a good movie. Halloween 2, 4, 5, 6, they are what they are. They're a novelty. You pop them on, get a kick out of it, watch the bad acting, whatever. It wasn't until like 2007 when Rob Zombie came out with his Halloween.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
I
remember hearing this. I remember hearing the news that Rob Zombie. I mean, of course, if anyone doesn't know, Rob Zombie is obviously a musician who was the singer and creator of White Zombie, and then he went on to do
one of my favorite bands, White Zombie.
Incredible band. I mean, luckily I got to see White Zombie several times, like back in the '90s, and then he went on to actually make his own movies. Devil's Rejects, I mean, like House of a Thousand Corpses.
Great trilogy.
So, and the guy, so obviously the guy has skills, and you're like, okay, he's gonna make a Halloween movie. And how did he go about it? What was his take on it?
His whole take on it was the backstory. He really dove into the psychological backstory and the upbringing of why Michael Myers is the way he is, but he put the Rob Zombie flair on it. Michael Myers comes from this white trash family and bullied in school, but he gets into the the elements of what makes a serial killer a serial killer. He kills cats and keeps them in his locker and just all this really horrific shit. But he really dove into the mom. He really dove into her, story and her plot lines. And there's, of course, the drunken stepdad who's really foul, and, the sisters, of course, really mean to him. And then, of course, there's the baby sister, Lori, who he's, just a baby. He's trying to protect the baby from these monsters that he grows up with. And then, he goes into, the backstory of Dr. Loomis, played by, Malcolm McDowell. And he did a great take on it. Overall, it's like you see the Halloween movie and it's like, yeah, this is the Rob Zombie, and it draws everything out. And then when it goes into the actual present day, it is just, redoing the Halloween movie with fresh actors and whatnot. But he goes really deep into the backstories of these characters, which you may or may not want. I mean, he came out with Halloween 2, and then it goes into this real psychological territory. And it makes it kind of...
And his Halloween 2 doesn't take place in a
Actually,
hospital.
It does.
Does it take place in a hospital?
It takes place in a hospital for the first part of it.
Oh, okay.
And then it kind of moves into a different story and, gets a little enchanting.
Is it a soft reboot?
No, that was a full-blown reboot.
Full-blown
But he did keep the original music. He did the original score. You could tell they re-recorded some stuff with a toy piano.
So
they kept the music because I'm sure Rob Zombie knows that music is Halloween.
Well, maybe I thought maybe he would have added his own little guitar flair to it. Gin, 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 gin. Yeah, gin, 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 gin. Ah!
They ended the last flare with Halloween Resurrection, where they were doing a internet. Yeah. Busta Rhymes was in the Michael Myers house with a whole podcast, Halloween night at the Michael Myers house, and I mean it was just getting into this terrible territory before Rob Zombie rebooted it, and then he did 2 of the movies, and I want to say there was in talks. It was in talks for.
How would you rank his Halloween movies compared to?
I really liked his remake of Halloween.
Okay.
I really liked when it first came out. It was great. I really liked it. I mean, revisiting it now, it's a little crude, but it's Rob Zombie, you know. But no, it was fantastic. It was a great homage to the original. H2O, you know, it's just something you watch once, and there's some great visuals in it, you know.
What's
great.
the latest one? This Evil Dies Tonight one.
Okay, so back in 2018,
The first one came out.
they decided, okay, everybody's had fun with Michael Myers. We're going to erase everything except the Halloween movie. The very first one, and we're going to make a movie called Halloween.
That's it?
That takes place 40 years or 30 years or however long, or 40 years, yeah, it would have been 40 years after the first Halloween movie. So all these sequels
Just forget them.
never happened.
Just forget them.
Forget about them.
Not even the silver
Clear your
camera.
mind.
The only ones that matter are
The only one that matters.
Yes, is the first
That
Halloween.
one.
First Halloween.
So Halloween
What?
takes place after the events of this film.
Yes.
There's no Halloween 2. There's no Halloween 4 Curse Return. There's no Revenge of Michael Myers. There's no Origins of Michael Myers. There's no H2Os. There's no Resurrections.
None
There's
of it.
no Rob
None of
Zombie.
it.
Hey!
None of it.
None of it.
None of it.
This, and now Halloween.
They
Halloween.
literally, it's just called Halloween.
Halloween.
Which is
Not like
which
Halloween
is,
again, Halloween 2, Boogaloo.
which seems like a reboot.
Halloween. For real.
Halloween.
And they have turned it into...
Where are they now?
That's basically what it is Halloween. What are they doing with their lives now?
Okay.
But no, it
Who
follows...
came up with this idea?
Well, no, it's... God, who's the writer behind it? Anyway, I like the idea. It's the concept of Laurie Strode now, survivor.
Yep.
Yeah.
She's basically become like a Sarah Connor. She's
She's
like a
very
survivor.
big. She's like a Sarah Connor.
She's a survivalist now.
Yes, and she's
a hermit, and of course, you know, she's
been
destroyed by the
she's
memories.
and she's been waiting for Michael Myers.
And her life's become unmanageable because she's an alcoholic.
Yep.
And she has a family, of course, that don't want anything to do with her because she's unmanageable. But of
He's
course,
out of control.
Michael Myers is in the asylum.
Yes, he's in the asylum, and he's just...
They're moving him to another asylum.
What
could possibly go wrong?
bad stuff. I can tell you that.
And this, of course, kicks off the new trilogy,
Yep.
the Halloweens.
Yes.
Halloween. The second movie is Halloween Kills. And this Friday,
Halloween.
it all comes to an end.
Halloween ends.
And Halloween ends. But will it really
No,
end?
Yeah,
that's what
will
it's
it?
called?
I mean,
It's called Halloween Ends.
I mean,
No more holiday after this.
no. There's nothing.
It's going to be Cat Day.
So they've gone on to make
Yes.
3 of these, or 2 of
There's
these already?
There's a
And that-
trilogy. It's a brand new trilogy,
Yeah.
and it's strictly a reboot.
I mean,
off
are
of
they?
this
So
film.
are they good, or are they not?
They're
good?
actually. It was
pretty good.
really good. I liked it.
They're good. They're really
Like
good.
I said, the Halloween Kills. I was a little distracted because through the whole movie,
Evil dies tonight.
it's like through the whole movie, and that's how it was with Halloween Kills. But I'm excited to see how they're gonna end Halloween Ends.
It'll be a big, big, big old farewell, or will it? Venture or end of the adventure. Kind of.
It'll
Yeah.
be an end of the Halloween adventure.
Yes.
The soul of these movies is like all of our favorite horror films. Will Halloween end? No, it's not
No,
going to end.
no.
It's going to go on forever.
There's
They're
gonna-
going to
there's
make
gonna-
movies.
there's gonna be-
It's like Dracula. It's like Frankenstein. These people have become iconic. So
Yes.
20 years from now, somebody's going to have an idea on how to freshen up the story for Halloween.
I mean,
and they're going to do it, and it's going to be great, or it's going to be not so great. Even if it's not so great, how many not so great horror movies do you rewatch?
Yeah. I mean,
A
there
lot.
might be a Halloween in the near future, maybe that might be taking place in like in 2050 or something like that.
Yeah, it'll be the future.
2070. It'll be a futuristic thing. Maybe Michael Myers will be
Like an
will be-
android.
Yeah, an android, or half of one. Maybe.
I think Jason already beat him to that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it'll be like a robot, or yeah, because Jason went to space.
Yes. Jason X.
Jason's done it all. he
Jason
went to
X.
New York. You know.
He went to New York. He went to
Jason
space.
takes Manhattan.
He's a man of the world and the universe.
Well, I
Michael
think-
Myers hasn't made it out of Haddonfield.
Well, here's the interesting thing about, to compare Michael Myers to Jason Voorhees, it's sort of like you go through the Friday the 13th franchise, they definitely did a lot of reinventing with Jason Voorhees.
Right.
I mean, you get to like
99 Ways to Die.
what would you say? Was it Friday the 13th Part 6? It's almost like a comedy, kind of.
Oh, yeah.
Because it gets to the point where they're like...
He's become like James Bond. Even in
Yeah.
the beginning of the movie, they have the
Yeah.
James Bond sequence, and
but
they're
I think-
having fun with it.
But I think with Michael Myers, it's always been serious as a heart attack with him. None of the movies are really like,
Yeah, he's not.
hey,
gonna,
it's Michael Myers, but it's kind of like
he's
a
not going
joke.
to come strolling down Haddonfield going, "Hello, my baby. Hello, my darling. Hello, my ragtime gal."
You watch this movie, this whole idea of like a slasher killer is kind of not even a concept anyone really knew of.
Well, everybody's desensitized to it, but think about it. If you're at home and like that's just what's on the news, there's somebody walking around just killing. I remember I was doing a show once, and one of my friends who's in one of the bands came out, and we saw cop cars and stuff outside the club. And I'm like, "What's going on?" He's like, "There's a guy walking around the streets with a hammer and a Batman mask." And I started laughing like a maniac. He comes up and says, "There's a guy walking around the streets wearing a Batman mask, and he has a hammer." And I just went, "Ah!" No, that's not the reaction you're supposed to have. But I'm so
I can't stop laughing.
I'm so fucked up that's funny to me because I've been watching this shit my whole life.
What do you think about this one?
That's scary. There's a
get the
guy
same
that's gonna
humor.
hurt you.
There's a guy rolling around with a James with a William Shatner mask.
There's a guy walking around with a William Shatner mask, and he's stabbing babysitters. And
right,
I'm like, "Ah!"
and then the question that you would ask, the question that would make you wonder is like, you mean there's a William Shatner mask? So you may be asking yourself, how can I join the Tiki Goth Club? Well, there is no membership. There are no fees. Well, things have changed. For $15, you can become a member of the Tiki Goth Club. What does $15 get you? It gets you your own membership card with your own number. You also get a couple stickers and a pin. I also have shirts for sale. These are $20, $5 shipping and handling, and I also have hoodies for sale that go for $40, $10 shipping and handling. If you're interested in any of this, go to my website, tikiwithray.com, and there's a tab that says Tiki Goth Club. Just click on that, and all the information you need is there.